Kyle, Knoxville, Tennessee, he said, I need the commissioner to help us. How would you fix the college football playoff? Now, hold on a second. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Kyle, it's not the first time that you have presented a submission to the show, that you have contributed to the mailbag. I appreciate it. But we happen to have record of your submissions. You are an expansionist, Kyle. It's okay. I fought against it. You fought. You beat me. You won fair and square. Why does it need to be fixed? You got what you wanted, didn't you? Oh, you mean it's not perfect out here? And imagine this, Kyle. Imagine if a year and a half or 2 years ago, you would have seen this situation right now. What situation is that? I'll tell you. The situation is you got the expanded playoff you wanted at the expense of what I wanted, and now you're asking me how to fix the thing that you got that you wanted. And listen to this, Kyle. I'm going to be the one to tell you, I don't think it's broken. There are mechanisms of it that I would love to overhaul, namely the entire way the committee operates, but I don't think the thing's broken at all. What's your evidence that it's broken? Kyle's not alone on this. I know a lot of you think the playoffs messed up. So do you think the committee's messed up, or do you think the playoffs messed up? I guess that's the first thing, because we could fix the committee by just getting a new committee or by redefining the process of the committee, but keep the playoff the same. When I'm thinking playoff, I'm thinking format and size. That's what I'm thinking. And if you're saying it's messed up, that means we need to change the bracket. And I don't think we need to. So if you do think we need to, if you do think it's messed up and it needs to be fixed, what's wrong with it? That's my question. And my prediction is people are going to talk about Texas, and they're going to talk about Vanderbilt. They're going to talk about Brigham Young. They may talk about Alabama. If Alabama were to lose Saturday and they get left out, Notre Dame absolutely could get left out of this thing. But my question is, how does that prove there's anything wrong with it? That doesn't prove there's anything wrong. That proves someone's upset because they didn't make the playoff. But, you know, you see children crying all the time at your local daycare. Just because a kid's crying doesn't mean anything's wrong. Sometimes kids cry because kids pitch fits all the time. Just because people are upset in college football doesn't necessarily mean anything's wrong with it. It's not necessarily evidence in and of itself that anything's wrong with it. So if you do think that there's evidence just because Vandy's upset they're not in, or Texas or Miami is upset they're not in, if you think that alone is evidence, well, what do you want to do? What's your answer? Is your answer to expand it more? A lot of people think that. A lot of people think, oh, we'll solve all these problems if we expand to 16. Of course you won't. Completely flawed logic. Of course you won't. But walk me down that road. What do you need? Do you just need 5 plus 9? Like, do we go from 5 plus 7 to 5 plus, or I guess it would be 5 plus 11? Is that what we would do? Would that be good? Would that solve it? Would you be willing to swear under oath that'll take care of it? No, you won't. Hey, do me one favor right here. Look down. Are you subscribed to the channel? If you are, thank you. If you're not, please click subscribe. It helps us keep the show free and free of corporate interference. All right, that's it for me. Back to the clip. No, you won't. All that does is slide the Overton window a little bit. You know, there was a time not too long ago where we had a 4-team playoff, and a time before that where we had a 2-team playoff. And any of us in those eras would have looked down the road and laughed hysterically at the concept of us debating which team in the country should be 11 and which should be 10 at the end of the year. You know why we'd laugh at it? Because we would be looking at it and properly saying, do any of those teams in that cluster really deserve to play for a national championship? Do they deserve it? Not saying could they get granted an opportunity, but do they deserve it? Like, do they have a legitimate gripe that they have met the baseline requirement? They've met the threshold that it should take to compete for a title. You would have laughed at yourself. But we moved the Overton window of what is and isn't acceptable as we expanded the playoff. And then if we expanded it again, we'd move it again. And sure enough, there'd be a team ranked 19th, and you would be up in arms, and someone would be saying, you know, the Big Ten's idea to go to 24 wasn't so bad. It would happen within a year or 2 years. You know that because many of you are making arguments that you would have laughed at 3 or 4 years ago. So what format do you want? How big does the playoff have to be fixed? a lot of people want to go to 16 because they say they don't want first-round buys. And to that, I say, I think that's what those conference championship games are for. Like, if you ever want to balance out, hey, why should we want to play for a conference championship? Well, because it could be that win or lose, as long as you make that game, you probably got a first-round bye coming up. Ohio State and Indiana can say that. Maybe Georgia and Alabama can say that if Bama wins. But you know what Bama could have done? Taken care of business against Oklahoma. And then we'd be saying the same thing about both of them. Doesn't matter whether you win or lose, you're going to get a first-round bye anyway. One of you is going to take some hardware home, and one of you is going to have more favorable positioning. I zoom out every time I start to do this. I'm not being a hypocrite here. I've complained about a lot this postseason. A lot of mine's been more procedural. A lot of mine has not so much had to do with the fact that I think there's this egregious misranking. I do disagree that Notre Dame's over Miami. That's small. It's not like it's a complete open and shut slam dunk case. There are arguments for Notre Dame. I just happen to believe the argument for Miami over Notre Dame has more merit to it. But that's not what I've trafficked in. What I've trafficked in, if I've got a big gripe, is the procedure of the playoff. The way the committee claims it operates versus the way it really does operate, that sort of thing. But I always try and take myself back to 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, whatever, and I just picture myself watching a future version of myself, which is supposed to be an older, wiser version, and what am I doing? I'm sitting here having watched Miami lose to Louisville and SMU, and I'm about to pound my fist on the table claiming they're getting screwed out of something. They're not. There are varying degrees of deservedness that teams have when it comes to the playoff, and I think Miami deserves a spot over Notre Dame. They're not getting screwed. If they don't make it in, they screwed themselves. It may be a little unfair. It's just like if you're a 3-touchdown favorite in a football game, and it's deadlocked, it's even, and it's 20-20, and it's 4th and goal, and you think the ball carrier made the line to gain, but they call him short. And then they go to the replay, and there's no camera angle. And so, you think, oh, man, the refs just screwed us. The refs didn't screw you. You were a 3-touchdown favorite for a reason. It never should have come down to that. So do I think Miami should get in the playoff? Absolutely, I do. However, and I want to stop singling them out, like Vanderbilt. Do I think it's a shame that they're not going to get in the playoff? Texas. Do they have a gripe? Of course. But the committee's not screwing them. They screwed themselves. Texas, don't go lose to Florida. Vanderbilt, a little more product of schedule than anything else. They've largely done the job. Miami, just mentioned those 2 games. Alabama, not that I think they should be left out, but the Oklahoma game. I mean, you can't let that stuff happen and still claim to have this orb, this protective orb around you.